Masters Week, baby. Welcome to the Bogey Free Podcast. I'm your host, Evan Chaney, today joined by Anthony and Matt. How you doing today, guys?
It's Masters Week, baby. It's lit.
Oh, it's always lit. Especially when you're on that old town road.
Oh, stop. Come on. We're trying to have a good show here, Evan.
It's so good. You're outnumbered here, Amico.
Oh, God.
Well,
so good.
I'm here for the old man takes. You're the dad, I'm the old man.
What does that make me? Like
what
the child of the horses. All right. Anyway,
this is going to be great. I have a really good feeling about this show.
Let's start.
I'm good too. Thanks for asking. How are you, Ev? More importantly.
Oh, I'm fantastic. Weather's
had
beautiful.
a Lunchables pizza. It's feeling great.
Oh yeah. Did you guys see that tweet that I posted about my my top tracer?
I don't follow you.
Oh, I know you do. In fact, you do. And I know that you probably saw it. And I feel some jabs coming on.
I don't think I did see this.
Yes, I posted some really horrible top tracer numbers earlier in this day. I actually played at Pebble Beach in the simulation.
What the hell are you talking about?
You can go to something called Top Tracer, which is like Top Golf, but it's like kind of, I guess, like they license it.
Oh, I hear what you're talking. Yeah, you hit it into the screen and stuff.
Yeah, you can hit it.
Your 9-iron 103 yards.
Yes.
God,
that's how bad I am.
Allegedly.
I shot 9 over on the simulation on a 30 handicap.
Just wait for puberty to hit, bud. You're gonna really fill out that frame.
I would hope.
Oh man, that's great.
So we do have some golf to talk about this week, as I've been informed. So let's talk about Augusta. Anthony, go to you first. Talk about the course, what stats you're looking at, and how you plan on building a player pool this week.
Augusta National, baby. I love it. I mean, the key stats that I'm looking at are total strokes gained, driving distance, strokes gained around the green, and bogey avoidance. Those are probably the 4 main ones. Kind of just taking a real, not barbell approach, but I'm just like looking really heavily on guys that can place in the top 10. I mean, you got to have the winner this week to win like a big field, a large field GPP. You got to have, a bunch of other guys in the top 10. So I'm really just training a lot of my stuff on top 10 finish and, using my regression trees that, I've been posting on the interwebs, to build my player pool. Really playing very aggressively this week. I mean, it's a very soft cut, top 50 guys plus anyone within 10 strokes. The leader is going to make the cut. So I'm almost treating this as like a no cut event in terms of like how I'm building my player pool. And I'm just willing to take on cut risk to gain finishing position equity.
Okay. Matt, what about you?
Yeah, I think all that makes sense. There's definitely a bump for having a little bit of distance. And if any of you guys follow Nick Verone, he was down at the practice round yesterday, I believe. And I've heard from multiple people now, including Nick, that the rough is like non-existent, which really allows for the guys who can really poke it out there and might miss some fairways to have a little bit of an advantage. So I'm weighting that reasonably heavy, and then obviously just greens and regulation, and more greens and regulation. That's pretty much it.
So I do have a question to throw out there. I kind of saw this on Pat Mayo's DK Playbook article. I read that article every week, like Monday morning, just to get a feel for the week. And there's a section of the article where he posts stats that he's looking at on Fantasy National. You get your strokes gained, par 3, par 4, normal stuff like that. But this week was the first time that I saw him post course history. And that course history is something that at least he's personally weighing in his statistical outlooks for this week. So I know, I can just see the look on your face, Matt. You're getting a little triggered here. How do you feel about course history at Augusta? Because I feel like every year, this is the one course where like the course history buffs kind of come out of the woodwork.
Are you asking me?
Yeah, I'm just. This is more.
What do you think my answer is
for the field here? How do you feel about that being like a thing that's discussed this week?
I think that's fine if people want to include that in their analysis. I haven't in any of the models that I've been putting together and putting up on RotoViz. It's exactly 0% course history every single week. I think that a lot of the stuff that might get caught by looking at course history, I just use long-term stats. Across like a player's career, more or less, which I think captures a lot of that. Like if you're good over your career, you're going to play a bunch at Augusta. And if you're going to play a bunch at Augusta, you're good. So you're probably going to do well there. Like it seems like people make a big deal out of it. And there is something to be said for being like making your debut there, that maybe it's a little bit more challenging than other courses, because a lot of these other courses you can get on even if you're not, a professional or well-known or etc. Augusta is a little bit trickier to get on. So there's a lot of the time people who are making their debut there haven't really played the course at all outside of like, a simulator or something. So there's something to be said for having experience here. For some people, it's just not something that I pay attention to.
Okay, yeah, it's just weird though, because I never see a whole lot of course history in terms
maybe
of
Pat's just like subtweeting me. Like maybe he was checking to see if I read that article.
Maybe.
I definitely think it matters more than Matt does, but I don't think, if you've read the Data Golf piece on Pinnacle this week, like they pretty much said, for the guys that have played a lot, it could count, as much as 25% of their projection, but not a lot of guys are going to have accumulated enough rounds to do that. So I mean, you're going to have a lot of guys in this field where like it's still going to be, basically worthless. And then you're going to have the guys like, Phil, who have played like, this field like 15 times or something like that. And you can have a little bit better of an idea of how they play at Augusta. But it's like, you're probably going to capture a lot of that stuff in the peripheral, information as well, if I had to guess.
Okay. Yeah. So
we definitely have the whole show about this. I could keep going, but we can.
I feel like we should talk about other like specific people at some point. So yeah, let's kind of dive into some popular plays here. We're only going to talk about a few, as there are certainly a lot of tournament pivots to go toward. So we'll talk about Tiger Woods here at 10,500. Obviously, someone who has seen success here at Augusta. Certainly someone that'll be popular, especially in what should be a maybe softer DFS field, because this is a lot of the newbie money, people that normally don't play fantasy golf, possibly. So how do you guys feel here about Tiger?
I was feeling a little bit better about him earlier in the week, but the fact that I care about driving distance, I think that's going to have me off of him this week. Part of what you said, I mean, the fact that it's a little bit of I don't want to say it's like a total fish field or anything like that, but it's obviously going to have a lot more casual players. And I think that usually just means a lot more Tiger and just overpriced. Like, I think that not having the distance here, I mean, he's one of the shorter hitters now. Like, he's probably in the bottom third. Well, he is in the bottom third in driving distance in the field. That's pretty big for me. I mean, he's a lot closer to like Brent Snedeker than he is to, Jon Rahm and those guys in terms of like his ability off the tee. So, Tiger still has the short game going, which is great. He can still make putts, but I just really question that he has the length to, over 4 days place in like the top 5. And that's kind of what he needs to do at that price.
Yeah. Matt, how are you feeling about Tiger here?
Yeah, I'm a little bit more bullish, I guess. I mean, we've seen him play in stroke play 4 times this year, right? He's hit more than 70% of his greens every time out. After his first start at, Torrey, he's hit like 65% of his fairways each time out. Like you said, the short game is there and he can make some putts. So, I mean, I feel like he struggled a little bit last year here. And for most of the season last year, he was really struggling off the tee. And I definitely get what you're saying about his distance. I still think he can get after it if he wants to. I think he's purposefully doing less off the tee right now. So his actual driving distance numbers might look lower, but I don't know that he, if he decides to pull driver on a couple of these holes, I think he can still poke it out there. At least around average to the field. So if you're gonna tell me that some familiarity is important here, and he definitely knows these greens to get to make some putts, he can get it up and down when he makes a mistake. I don't know. I think he did pretty good in my model. I think he's going to be somebody that I'm seriously considering this week.
I mean, definitely in recent rounds, his GUR game's been great, like relative to this
all the
field.
GURs.
Yeah, but it's been short courses too, though. Like Austin CC is a really short course, like that. Like him playing really well at the match play, like kind of speaks to the fact that he can still get it done in the short areas. Like I just don't, when you got to tee it up for 300 off the bat, I don't know if that's going to happen for him. And like his driving accuracy has been very poor, like since he's come back. So like even if he hits the length, I know you said that the rough really isn't that bad here, but like I just feel like he's not going to be putting himself in as good a spots as the other guys.
I mean, if you want to play like comp course, the comp course game, which I usually don't, but everybody and their grandmother is saying Riviera, and he did pretty well there this year too. So I don't know. I think it's really just a matter of, I guess, sort of him, avoiding these like little lulls that he's been having in his rounds where he just doesn't score for 6 or 8 holes and then needs to turn it on at the end, right? Like that's kind of been his thing. Like he's had a few rounds where you go like, holy shit, that back nine was amazing, but it hasn't necessarily been that he's put, a complete round together. I don't know. I guess we'll see. I'm probably going to end up like being about equal to the field in the 20 entry max. I think he'll probably shake out. I have him about 19% right now. I think that could change a little bit, but I wouldn't mind throwing him in a couple of lineups. 3-4 lineups out of my 20 this week. Where
are you projecting him ownership wise?
He literally just said that, Evan.
This is not
part of being a great host is listening to the people that are talking.
But it like fuzzed out for it was just bad.
Yeah, I have him about 19%.
Okay. No. Yeah, see that time it didn't like glitch up on me. So thank you, Google Hangouts. I'm blaming technology, but I should really just look in the mirror there. All right. Next guy on the docket here, we have $8,900 troll Jordan Spieth. Who? Let me tell you, he is a troll.
Just no. Next guy. No. No, just no. Why would I play this guy? Why would I play him? Like
he's cheap. He's $8,900 for a guy that has done well here in the past 2 years.
Fraud Spieth has always lived on the back of a hot putter. His tee to green game has just gone to absolute garbage. Yeah. And he had the yips of the putter for the that stretch also. Like I don't trust this guy. Like if you think that Jordan Spieth just has a thing, this will rile Matt up. If you think that Jordan Spieth just shows up at Augusta and all of a sudden he has his A game, then go ahead and play Jordan freaking Spieth. But like it's not like we're gonna get him at 8% because the field is looking at his recent form. The field that's full of casual players is going to be looking at Jordan Spieth and be like, oh, he has multiple top 5 finishes at the Masters. He is amazing. I'm going to take him. And at 8,900, he's going to fit a lot more builds than Tiger and those other guys over 10K. Like there's just no way I'm playing him. Give me half the other guys in this range. Give me Xander, give me Decky, give me anyone. Paul Casey, I don't care. Like I'm not playing Spieth.
I'm glad I got the energy going there. You're very excited to.
I'm just not doing it.
Distaste toward him. Matt, how do you feel about Jordan Spieth here?
I'm like, this is really, really rough for the brand. Like at least he, like the whole course history thing, like if he comes out and lays an egg, like that would be fine with me. If he ends up like doing well, I mean, I can kind of say like we saw the writing on the wall a little bit where he was coming back a smidge, but yeah, this is going to be one of my biggest sweats, whether I play him or not, whether I bet him or not. I really just I need to.
You can't play him. You can't play him.
Probably not.
You can't play him. Yeah,
I wish
you lose all the Twitter equity if you have him.
I wish he would have just played well over the weekend. Like he opened 68-68, right? He shot like 40 or 41 on the front on Saturday, and then went ape shit and went like 5 under on the back 9 to bring it like back to even. Like he's all over the place, and we know that he can lose it on one very particular hole. And if that happens, like it's just game over. So yeah, there's quite a few guys that I'd rather in this range. That being said, like I'll probably have at least like a top 10 on him just to insulate myself from the risk, just to make sure like if he just decides like, oh, it's Augusta, like the alarm clock went off, my fucking brain is back intact, then I'm gonna play here. I don't know. I want no part of him. He's cheap on Yahoo if anybody's playing over there. But
let it be known that I don't even like Jordan Spieth. Like I never liked Jordan Spieth. So take that for what it is. Maybe I'm just biased, but like,
is he the Aaron Rodgers of the golf world?
Oh, 100%. 100%. The only difference is that golf's not a team sport, so it doesn't really matter. But like, but this is Jordan Spieth this year, 55th, and this is just in this field. This is not on tour. This is just in this field of 88 golfers. Spieth.
Which you have to wait. I'm sorry. Let me just also contextualize this with, like, this also includes like fucking Sandy Lyle and Larry Mize and all those like old shits that are gonna play for 2 days. So
right, he's 55th in total strokes gained. 55th in strokes gained around the green, 28th in birdie or better, 25th in birdies, 53rd in bogey avoidance, 32nd in driving distance, 57th in strokes gained on the par fours, and 72nd on like the short par fours, which is that those play on Augusta pretty well. And he's 46th in 3-putt avoidance. Like there's literally nothing, like, just if you took the name away, like you're looking at this guy and you're like, oh, this guy's definitely like 6,500. Like he's fucking 8,900. I can say that on this show, right? Like he's 8,900. Like why would you do that?
I've heard 17 times since the show started.
Why would you do that? Just tell me why you play him outside of the fact that he has multiple top 5s at Augusta. Tell me why you would.
It's fair.
I think at best this is like a FOMO play,
yeah.
And that's probably not the best way to.
Listen, I always miss out, so I don't have to have that fear.
I mean, and for what it's worth, like his stats for this year in my model give him like a 12.5% chance at a top 15 DraftKings day here. Long term is obviously better, so it's his overall percentile is boosted a little bit, but it's not great recently.
Right. Mm-hmm. And again, if he was going to be like 5%, then I'd be like, okay,
right.
I'll put toes in the water. But if he's going to be like 15%, no, thank you.
Exactly.
All right, I think it's good for the health and well-being of the three of us to move down here.
I'm ready, babe. With heart rate is going. This is healthy. This is good for you. 5 of 5 doctors recommend.
This is the closest I've gotten to exercise in quite a while.
See, I watch my football players work out 2 to 3 times a week, so I feel pretty fit.
There you go. R.I.P. AF.
So let's go down to resident shitty caddy tipper, Matt Kuchar, here at 7,900. How do we feel about Mr. Skechers?
Dang, shade on the shoes. I mean, I'm actually going to play this one. I don't know how much I'm going to have, but I'll probably be slightly overweight when all is said and done. I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't think Kuchar's going to be like 30%, but he's probably going to be over 20. And I mean, I'm afraid to fade him. I mean, in general, I'm looking to fade guys that are chalky, but he's cheap, and like there's a lot of builds that I can still make with him and the contrarian options in that price range. Like, I don't have to fade Kuchar to play Patrick Cantlay, to play, you know, Gary or Howell or Sergio. Like, I don't have to fade Kuchar to do that. Like, there's going to be plenty of builds that have like two guys in that upper 7K range and still build a really competitive roster with potentially contrarian options. So I'm good with playing Kuchar. I mean, the form is just the best it's ever been. And he's played well here as well. Like, I just don't really think that there's a reason. I don't think that there's like a good reason to like full fade him. But I will also probably just be overweight just because I think all the numbers suggest that he probably will actually do pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, it's been 12 starts in a row that he's hit at least 60% of his greens. Stroke play, obviously match play doesn't count, even though he played well there. I can't imagine matching the field on him. Like, you can argue for an ownership fade, but you can't argue for like his play, like fading him because of his play.
Right. Where do you have him right now, by the way? Am I shooting in the right spot, like 20 to 25%?
Yeah, I have him at 25 right now. I think that probably flattens out a little bit with a couple of the guys around him that could get a little buzz over the next day and a half. But I don't know. I don't see him dipping below like 20, like the 20, maybe like 20. I would say 20 is probably going to be where it settles at if it drops. I don't really see it going to like 14 or something.
Right. Him being such like a short hitter is like the only thing I don't like 70th in driving distance, but like everything else is just pure. Like, he's top 20 in pretty much every other important stat. And
he was dunking on Kiz that day in match play, though. You see that shit? He was out driving him by like 55 yards.
Listen, man, it's not, when the young guy talks shit, you got to fire it up, you know?
Yeah, so I think that this is probably either a 0 or like a 50% play. Like, I don't see myself landing anywhere else. I think it's going to be double to triple the field or just a complete fade. And again, like, just hope for the best, but it's not because of his play.
All right. That sounds like a take.
Yeah. So we need to fill this damn listener league this week, boys. 75 people, $5 to get in, pays the top 3 like usual. The winner gets their choice of bogey free shirt from the store. The last place shirt. So even if you come in dead last, you can walk away with something here. So make sure you fill it up. I think we're about 55 right now, so we got about 20 spots left. Plenty of time, right, Amico? So we'll be all right.
Plenty of time. I know that you're saying that, but inside you're dying.
I'm already dead.
I better just pull out the Arby's dinner then, because that's just icing on the cake.
Dead. Perfect.
All right. So let's talk about the GPP pivots here. Let's start with our 9,500 and up guys. It's the cream of the crop. Where are you guys at?
Well, I mean, you've left us quite a bit because the only guy we really talked about was Tiger.
Yeah.
I mean, I really like DJ. I think that him being priced less than Rory, it makes sense based on how they've played. And I'm sure that people will play Rory more just because he has obviously the tremendous play this year in terms of the top 10s. He has a lot of top 10s at this field. But, you know, I think that at like an 8% ownership discount or, you know, whatever percent that is of like the 25% or so, I think Rory will be like, I really like Dustin Johnson. Like, I think this is a guy that we thought had a shot to win it a couple years ago before, you know, trip and fall gate. he's still the best player in the world or the second best player in the world. And he still hits all the key numbers for me in terms of like the regression models, top 10 in strokes gained, number 2 in bogey avoidance, top 5 in driving distance. Obviously, like Rory's going to hit a lot of those marks also. Although Rory has not been as good on in the par 4 game as DJ has, which I thought was interesting. But I mean, ultimately, this is just, like if you split the ownerships of Rory and DJ, I'd be talking about Rory. But I just think that DJ is an excellent play, especially with some of these lower price guys that I think makes it actually pretty easy to fit them.
Yeah, I mean, you can really fit whoever you want. Top 2 guys in the model are the top 2 guys in salary, with DJ getting a slight lead there for me. Outside of those 2 guys, the pretty much this entire range besides Rose is from like a 79 to an 84, like the whole rest of the range. Ricky's right there, Rahm is right there, Tiger and JT are all right there. So
where are you on the JT injury?
I don't really care.
Is he? But like, does it affect how you play him? Because I think he's an excellent fit. Like, he's first in strokes gained around the green, second in birdie or better, first in overall birdies. Like, he's an amazing play if you think he's healthy.
Yeah. I already put an outright on him, so you better.
You're such a fish. What are his odds?
I got him at plus 1,600. I put a few outrights, so I'll discuss them as the show goes on.
That means they're way longer shots.
Yeah. I only take the deepest of shots.
Just Mike Weir for all the money.
Oh yeah.
You do like Canada, so it makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I would love to see Rahm win this, to be totally honest. He didn't pop in my model the way that I sort of hoped he would, but he's like my brain and / heart, like top of my model. But I'm not worried about the injury with JT. He played a month ago at the Players. He still hit 60% of his greens. He was pretty much driving it the way that he always had been before that. So I'm not particularly concerned about it. If that's going to give us a little bit of an ownership discount, then that's even better.
In on that. Yeah, no, because I do think he's going to be pretty low owned.
Yeah. Like Brooks and Rose are the 2 lowest in my model above this range. And I wrote up Paul Casey over Brooks head to head for the tournament. So you can see where I'm at with that over at Bet the Prop.
Good plug.
Yeah. Professional broadcaster.
All right.
Even though we do this for free.
Well, okay. So I kind of want to bring this question to you guys. I probably should have asked this earlier, but here we are. Right. So how do you guys like prefer to build your lineups this week? Do you want to go with that stars and scrubs, or you want to get, some of these higher price guys and then maybe some value plays, because there is a lot of value this week, right? Very strong field and it's kind of deep.
Yeah,
or do you want to go balanced?
I mean, I mostly am making balanced lineups. Like, those are the lineups that have won in like the Millie. So I don't want to go too crazy with the stars and scrubs. I do think that this year in particular, there's like a bunch of guys in that 7K range that I really like. So I'm going to have a couple stars and scrubs lineups. Like, there's one lineup that I actually think is like very, very playable that has DJ and Rory, and I'm going to play that. But past that, I'm not going to do a ton of like double over 10K. Because I do think that like the mid 8K range and the upper 7K range are fat, and I want to really hit that.
Yeah, I agree. I think, I don't know. I'm imagining I'm gonna build 20 lineups for the 4, and I'm imagining that like 5 will be stars and scrubs and 15 will be much more balanced. That's kind of what I'm shooting for as of right now. When I go to build the lineups, obviously that could change as I start to see like percentages, but that's somewhere around there is kind of my split. Like 25% stars and scrubs, 75% balanced is kind of my thought.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's good just to kind of get like a gauge as to how lineups should be built this week. All right. So from there, we will go down to our $8 to $9,400 golfers here for tournaments. This includes guys like Bryson. This includes guys like Tony Finau, who's at the bottom of this range. And of course, anyone else you guys care to talk about.
Can you repeat the range there on the salaries?
8 to 94.
Oh, baby.
Oh, yes.
You want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first.
Yeah,
as far as like the model results, which will be up tomorrow with the ownership projections. Right now, Hideki is pretty significantly higher than anybody else in this range, with Fleetwood and Scott right sort of behind him. They're all above the 85th percentile on the model, and Paul Casey. So those are my four in this range that I'm really kind of narrowing in on. I don't think that Bryson's a bad play. I don't think that I'll have some Xander, even though he didn't really pop in the model as well as I thought he would. But I'm gonna try and rotate around like at least like three of these guys probably as a core. Because I think you can do lots of different things outside of three guys in this range, and then you could go pretty cheap and save some salary to go up if you want, or you can kind of live in this like high 7 range after that. So those are my four like favorite plays in the range.
Are you gonna laugh me off the show if I tout Phil?
No, not at all. Did you see his fucking swaggy ass warm-ups today?
No, but I'm going to be Googling that very shortly.
He was swinging as hard as he possibly could, sideways, like a baseball kind of, and he had a $100 bill hanging out of his pocket.
Oh, I love it. That's what the HBO money does for you. I mean, Phil is just a really good fit for me. Again, he's top 25 in strokes gained. His strokes gained around the green has been lacking, but I didn't realize Phil was still this long off the tee. 13th in driving distance in this field.
His
really impressive.
His swing speed has actually gone up like over the last 2 or 3 years. He's like actively been trying to get longer off the tee, even though he's like 45 probably.
Yeah, like I'm shocked.
And it's working. Yeah.
And I don't think that this is like a chalk Phil week. I actually think that people won't play him as much. He's really close to Patrick Reed, who just won it. He's close to Xander, who I really like also. But he's $400 away from Hideki, who I think is probably like another chalky guy in this area. So I would say my favorite plays in this range are Phil, Xander, and I really like Jason Day for, again, the ownership discount. He's really close to Fleetwood, really close to Casey. I think Day's going to be pretty low owned. So those are probably my 3 favorites.
Are you guys not scared off just a little bit, though, by Hideki's putting?
No.
Especially here.
Dude, Patrick Reed just won the friggin' Masters.
And he's still a dick about it.
I'm not worried about it.
Fast greens neutralize bad putters typically. And I just think Hideki is good enough tee to green that he can. I mean, obviously he's been
amazing.
able to keep up for his career. Like that probably doesn't even really need to be said. But I'm not concerned about it. If you would tell me that he could even stay neutral, like he's going to factor in on Sunday. So
yeah,
I'm just hoping for a reasonable putting performance, which he putted real well at Sawgrass. So take that for what it's worth. Maybe he's finding something, because it hasn't been like he's been known to average like 30, 31 putts per round, and it's been under 30 for the last 4 rounds now. Or 4 events now.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Like, I feel with Hideki, it's like if he were even an average putter, he'd be the best golfer in the world.
You could say that about a lot of guys, though.
Yeah.
I mean, my thing with Hideki is that I just think that he's grossly underpriced. Like, I think that an informed Hideki is a world class golfer, like top. Like, if you look at the data golf stuff, pretty much however you sort it, like win equity, top 5, top 10, whatever it is, Hideki is pretty much like in the top 6 or 7. He's definitely the only guy like in his price range that has like as good odds as he does to place, let's just say like inside the top 10. If you look at his odds, 27% chance to finish inside the top 10. That's better than Bryson, better than Tiger, and only slightly worse than Justin Rose, but he's way cheaper. He's, $2,100 cheaper than Rose. So I just think that it's a huge pricing error, and that's why he deserves to be played in bulk volume.
Yeah.
Now I'll just go a little bit lower than that in Tony Finau.
Trick or treat.
I mean, I bet the house on this guy today. I got him.
What's the house for you?
I don't know. Probably my college tuition. But I put him at a top 10, a top 5, and an outright. Outright, I got him at plus 3,300.
I mean, he doesn't have terrible odds in my the betting stuff I've looked at, like in terms of pure finish. He just doesn't project as like a great DraftKings scorer here for me. Like, he doesn't do a great job around the green, so that kind of hurts what he's done, total and off the tee. But anyone that's long and like has elite skills, you could probably argue for. So like, I don't hate Finau. He's probably not gonna make my player pool, but I don't hate him.
Thing is, like with him, what got me on Tony Finau is that two things, right? So he's not getting the mainstream attention, and that's like the mainstream attention is what drives a lot of the ownership here, which is crazy to say for like us fantasy people, but I think when you think about some of the people that are playing these contests this week, you do have some people like ESPN and all that, but so it's the lack of mainstream attention, and then I'm getting rumblings that there's a lot of sharp money on him being bet, like low key sharp money
on Tone Bone.
Yeah.
Well, that's great because I have so much money tied up in my bookie account right now for futures with him for the Masters. Yeah. So that would be really great. Like I've been betting Masters futures on him like every time I thought about it since the Ryder Cup, pretty much.
Oh my gosh, Matt. You must have some good odds though at different points.
Yeah, I have anywhere from like plus 4,000 to like plus 5,500. So
yeah, that's hot.
Yeah, hopefully it works out. I am not crazy about his form, obviously, right now. He just doesn't seem as, I don't know how to describe it. Like it just watching him, it doesn't seem as crisp. Like he's not really wowing you with greens. He's hit less than 70% of greens in his last 4 starts. Like it's not, he hasn't been the guy that we were used to seeing through a lot of last year. So, obviously I hope that changes. I think he struggled a lot last week and rallied to make the cut, which is nice to see, but maybe he would have been better off just missing the cut and heading to Georgia early and working on some stuff on the range. Who knows? Yeah, I don't know. I obviously love Finau. I'll definitely have him in a couple of lineups, but I'm not going crazy on him this week. But the futures help with that.
Now Finau's gonna smash.
Hey, I'm ready.
Yeah. All right. Anyone else you guys want to talk about up here?
No. For what it's worth, the I was playing around with the pivots tool at RotoViz, and the closest comp for Justin Thomas over their last 3 starts is Bubba.
Ooh. Yeah, Bubba is a guy I've heard talked a lot on like the various toutcasts.
Yeah, so you figure if you want a cheaper, but probably similarly owned, but a cheaper guy that's playing similarly, Bubba would be the pivot off of JT. For price at least.
I just don't think Bubba's been that good. Am I like wrong for saying that? Like he's
no,
been
I don't
great
think
off the tee, but like he's first actually in driving distance this year. So he's been great off the tee. But everything else just hasn't been that good to me.
I don't think you're wrong at all. I think maybe that the fact that he's that similar to JT speaks more about JT's game right now.
Boom.
Which again is part of, maybe it is the wrist injury. Like his, 2 starts ago, he hurt his wrist mid-tournament. So that makes sense that his ball striking was a little bit off. But just something interesting that I noticed in my research.
Boom. All right, can we get to my favorite play in the tournament?
Do it.
Shoot your shot, dude.
We're getting under 8K here, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm infatuated with Patrick Cantlay.
Join the club.
Underpriced. Like I just don't think. I think for how he's played this year, he deserves to be priced higher. 9th in total strokes gained, which is really impressive. 33rd around the green. 10th in driving distance, which again, like I think he's another one of those like sneaky long guys. And he's 3rd in strokes gained on the par 4s. Like again, this is just world-class golf being played at 7,700. I know that his Masters history has not been great, but again, I don't really care that much. Like he hasn't really played enough rounds to realize, I think, his expectation. And I just think he's way better now. So I'm rolling Cantlay in high volume this weekend.
Nice. I like it. He was got a 92 in the model, so I will be pretty heavily invested in him too. I really like the way that the model sort of shook out this week. I would be pretty comfortable rolling like a Cantlay, Stenson, Woodland, Howell like core in something, and just paying whatever the hell you want everywhere else, because you would have so much salary left over.
Yeah, I hope Charles Harrell wins the freaking Masters. The hate needs.
That
to
would
stop.
be great. Yeah, that
7K.
would be awesome.
He's priced under Hao Tong Lee and Tyrell Hatton.
Just seeing Patrick Reed's dumb face like putting the jacket on CH3 would just be amazing.
Oh, that would just be mint.
Yeah, how is Chucky 3 sticks 7K?
He's
awesome
just a goat. Like I don't understand. I do have some breaking news, guys.
Are you playing Gary Woodland?
No. Are you guys ready for this?
I'm bracing everything I got here.
No, who might I be saying that I'm considering playing this week that would shock the world?
Sungjae Im didn't qualify for the Masters, right?
No. Come on.
Tyrell Hatton?
Oh God, no.
I'm just trying to mess with you. Are you playing Keegan?
Oh,
I'm really trying to trust the model, and I don't know. This might be literally the first time in my DK career that I play Keegan, and it's scaring the shit out of me. But like 7,000 is crazy for him, right?
Yes.
Like it's crazy. He's like 5th in my model. That's crazy.
No one is going to play Keegan this week, too. No one. Nobody is playing Keegan, Matt.
Because you have that, because there's always that fear that he's going to be a first-round leader and then miss the cut.
I'm so happy right now. I've never been happier, actually. Matt is bringing up Keegan Bradley on this podcast.
Oh, God. We got a market here.
I've been talking to a lot of different people about my process, and people talking to me about the model, and I think I really just need to start like stripping out my bias and just listen to the math and follow the model. And Keegan, if it was like he was like 88, 84 or something, like I'd be like, all right, whatever, I can fade him. But he got a 97. Like I don't know.
34th in total strokes gained, 35th in driving distance, 58th around the green. Not that great, but he's just very okay. Yep. And for 7K, we love very okay.
Right. The other guy, he didn't perform as well in the model, but with the sim scores, Justin Rose's closest comp is Matt Wallace at 7,100. So if you're looking for a cheap Englishman that hits some greens,
oddly specific,
Matt Wallace would be your guy.
No, I don't hate that. He's new though, right? He's never played here before. I always worry about the new Masters guys.
I wouldn't be able to tell you because I don't pay attention to those kinds of things. Hang on.
Yeah, no. Okay.
Yeah, no. He hasn't played here before, but I also think, can we just take a second? I also think some of that is like people make their debut a lot when they're like amateurs and like not really ready, or they like won a random shit tournament and get to play. Like
the fact that it hasn't happened in like 40 years though is pretty impressive.
What?
That no one's won a Masters with.
No, I don't. I'm not saying like win, but like, you know, a guy like Tony Finau who had never played before finished in the top 5 last year. Like
sure.
there are definitely, when there's established guys who could, you know, who are making their debut, I don't feel as weird about it. Like Jon Rahm a couple years ago, like I was not concerned because it's Jon Rahm. Like there's different levels to this, and I think Matt Wallace is going to be a name that we hear a lot throughout the summer, and this might be like a pretty good opportunity to get him, you know, pretty cheap and relatively low owned.
That's fair. I also know I mentioned him in my disdain for Charles Howell's price, but Haotong Li is honestly a pretty good play. Like,
no, he's screwed, man. Did you see his group?
Is he playing with Tiger?
It's not great.
Who's he playing with?
I gotta look it up. I can't remember it off the top
of
my
head. Now, if you're gonna tease me like that, you got to have the data.
I'm looking it up.
Well, while you're looking,
because it was bad. I think it's Tiger and Tiger's playing with Rahm. Yeah, it's Tiger, Rahm, and Haotong Li.
Haotong Li is gonna
like Lee's completely screwed.
No, he is ready. He's like, this is all I've ever wanted. I'm gonna beat Tiger. I'm gonna beat Jon Rahm, and we get that green mother effing jacket on my body.
No, he's screwed. He's going to shoot like 84 on Friday and miss the cut.
Right. There goes 25% of my lineups.
All right. So I do have a question for you guys. So I noticed somewhere, one of the books, Charlie freaking Hoffman. They've moved to 25-1.
That's just people are like smashing him for first round leader.
But like, why? What about Charlie
Hoffman, dude?
Is attractive to think he's gonna win this thing?
I'm pretty sure it's like a Feinberg pick, also. So that's probably why a lot of people are betting it.
Yeah, I mean, that's like one of the biggest narratives. Like, hasn't he been? I think he was definitely first round leader.
He's a world class first round leader.
Yeah, he's like,
because
I saw something like
it's a real thing.
He's 16 under. He's 16 under in first rounds here, and then terrible after that.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't.
You get what you pay for.
I just want to put that out there. Now, let's talk about a guy who actually is. He might win this. I bet him at plus 15,000.
Again, just confirming that Glover is not in the field.
Glover, unfortunately, was not in the field. I was sad to notice that. But Keith Mitchell at 6,800, he is coming in with some decent recent form. Winning, what tournament did he win?
Killer Keith?
Yeah.
Didn't he win? Did he win a Valspar?
Yeah, I forget which one it was. Yeah, so he does come in with decent recent form. You guys want to play him at 6,800?
Yes, I do.
All right.
He's DJ's closest comp in this field over the last 3 events. And he won the Honda, by the way.
Honda. Okay.
Batman, obviously.
I mean, it's the same thing. All the Florida events are the same. If you say Honda, Valspar, or API, then you're correct.
So interesting. I am not on Killer Keith. I am on a different 6,800 player, someone that you have heard of before. JB Holmes.
Oof.
JB Holmes is one of the most tilting players in DFS in general.
I just feel like JB is like 2 years removed from being like the Uber chalk at this event. And now he's going to be like sub 5% and is still not a bad golfer. Like he still has the distance that you want. He's still good enough on the par fours. I I think that he has like super risk. Like he could totally like he's on the Siwoo level. Like I like Siwoo also. Like both of those guys could miss the cut, but they could both also finish inside the top 10. And that's why I like guys like that. So like in terms of like the sub 7K bombs, like I'm playing JB, I'm playing Siwoo, and I'm also playing Corey Connors, who just got in. I know like the numbers on like getting in on the last tournament aren't very good for guys in the Masters, but Connors does like fit all the stat, model stuff that I'm looking at, and as a result, I will play him.
No, Corey Connors, I mean, he's doing really well relative to the field in a lot of stats. I mean, tee to green, last 24 rounds in the field, he's 6th. Ball striking, he's 4th. Off the tee, 9th. Approach, 6th. I mean,
this also isn't his debut, which would make you feel better. He missed the cut. I think it was like 2015 or 2016, but he has played here before. So that's at least like he didn't make it and is just like happy to be there. Like he's played it before. So at least there's some like underlying like extra oomph for him. Outside of Keith, like I don't know that I'm really dipping under 7K.
Yeah.
If I had to, I would say like I know we're saying distance, but I feel like a Griot could make a little bit of sense here. I don't know. It's all pretty gross. Like you can pretty much cut out anyone below, I don't know, like 6,500. You can just like basically ignore. Yeah, maybe I'll have a lineup in Tway just to stay on Tway just to stay on brand. But outside of that, like it's just a wasteland.
What about Vijay Singh?
No.
Apparently the 3rd highest money earner.
I'm sure he'll make the cut. Like this is the easiest cut in golf. So it's like it's not going to be that impressive to me to make this cut, but I don't know, like he doesn't have upside. Like it was fun a few weeks ago when he factored into a tournament and then he pretty much just fell apart over the last few holes. Yeah, I have no interest. Like guys like that, these older guys, like I get it if you think you're being cute and you just want to get a made cut from one of these guys, but it's just I have no interest.
All right, so I think that does it for the GPP plays here. So let's talk about 2 locks. I for one am locking in Tony Finau and Killer Keith.
Oh, a rare Evan goes first.
Yeah, see, I was thinking about this.
Too.
I think
he was showing off for Gup. That's why.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I missed that.
Shout out Gup, by the way. Like he had a ton of good plays last week, and he convinced me to go full in on Lebioda, and it worked out quite swimmingly for me last week. So
love it. I am gonna go.
Why don't you go next?
I am gonna go with Patrick Cantlay, and I'm gonna stay on brand and go with Chuck Howell.
Matt.
Yep, that's good. Yeah, I will. I am going to roll with Howell as well. I'm having a hard time with the more expensive guy because I feel like my ownership is going to be pretty spread out above like 8,500. So I'll go Howell and Decky. I feel pretty confident about both of them. So I'll roll with those 2 this week.
All right, sounds good. That'll do it for us. This has been the Bogey Free podcast for the Masters. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast on both iTunes and YouTube. You can find us under Bogey Free DFS on both sites. And of course, if we're not winning all the money, we hope you guys do. So good luck in your contest this week.
See you.